I'm hungry.
Part 3 is hardly ever the best of the bunch, but this may be the exception. It's UPTON'S Naturals Barbecue Jackfruit, made with genuine spiky Southeast Asian jackfruit, and tossed in a sauce with strong hints of chili powder, paprika, and black pepper. This high-utility fruit is great on sandwiches, good over rice, but maybe best straight out of the bag. Tune in and see The Vengeance of Mark Twain!
So, you mean to tell me? Okay, let me see if I understand all of this correctly. At first, this show got its food from the Vortex Randomizer, which contained every food item in creation. Whichever food item came up for review on the show was just like spinning some gigantic roulette wheel. After which, I switched to the Divinity Crate, which largely operates on the same principle. This is every food item in existence. We're talking billions, maybe trillions, maybe quadrillions of different possibilities. How unlucky do I have to be to receive the same vomit-inducing item 3 damn times? How unlucky must I be for this food to just happen to be the worst food I've ever had on the show? This is like playing the shit lottery and hitting the jackpot, then playing it again, and hitting it again, and then playing it again, and then hitting it again. What the flipping hell, man? UPTON'S Natural Barbecue Jackfruit. And look at that beautiful picture of Trent 7 on the box. The first time I ever tried jackfruit on this show, it is a miracle that I didn't vomit then. In fact, if I remember right, that was one of the earlier episodes of this show. I would have been starting this series off with a bang! But I think I owe it to the way that I prepared it, actually, because I put it into a pot and I threw a whole bunch of water in there, I boiled it all up, all that nasty taste seeped out of there, and when I took a bite, it was like taking a bite out of a soft chunk of tree bark. And I know you're wondering, how the hell would I know what tree bark tastes like? Well, need I remind you, I was a strange kid. And then, there was the second time I had jackfruit on this show, a more recent episode if you'll remember. When I first saw that can, I hadn't an inkling, I hadn't the foggiest idea it would turn out to be one of the most repugnant things I ever had on this show. In fact, I kind of went into that episode looking at it as a bit of redemption. I heard this fruit was the most delicious fruit in all of existence. Need I bring up a third time that racist Mark Twain? And on this show, I have a history of goofing up, and things end up tasting bad because I didn't prepare them the right way. This time, I had no one to blame but the fruit itself. And when I took my first bite, oh, goongala, goongala, a lot of blame came to light. Eating jackfruit is like licking the floor of the bowling alley. Just a weird, like, wood pulp taste. It's like taking a big wad of popsicle sticks and, like, wrapping them together with a rubber band, opening your mouth up real wide, shoving them in, and then sucking on them for like an hour. And you know, a couple of skits that I've done in the past, I've had to use a leaf blower to, like, make wind effects, and you know, I would never get my lines right on the first try, so I have to try them again and again and again. I'm constantly blowing myself in the face with this leaf blower. The taste that you have in your mouth, a just dry mouth and like cotton, like consistency spit billowing in the corners of your mouth, that's the kind of taste you have in your mouth after you eat jackfruit. I know good taste and bad taste is all a matter of opinion, but this tastes bad as a fact! What the hell is Mark Twain smoking? But in my mind, there is one more glimmer of hope. One tiny idea, one minute little kernel that this might actually taste good. Because Mark Twain and all the people who love jackfruit, they never actually say that it tastes great, but usually they're saying it's a high utility fruit, which means that if you just take a jackfruit and take a hearty bite out of it, there's a good chance that it's not going to taste good to you. But you can use it to do other things with. Maybe you could chip away at its outer shell and use it as seasoning. You can use it as a substitute for meat. Maybe if you go to sleep with a jackfruit resting on your forehead, it'll get rid of acne. Maybe if you strain its juices, you can wash your socks in them. It's a high utility fruit. That doesn't necessarily mean anything about taste, does it? I mean, it could be poisonous for all we know. A drop of its juice touches your tongue, you can drop dead, right? No, it just means that it has some kind of weird magic within it that it can save your life in a pinch. I mean, hell, a shoehorn has high utility. Are you gonna eat that too? And you go back and watch those old episodes, you might recall one of my major problems with the jackfruit was its texture. Just the weird feeling, this weird like you're eating some kind of plant that doesn't fully crunch all the way. It's not exactly smooth in your mouth. I mean, I feel like it should be the kind of food that should melt in your mouth, but it doesn't. It's kind of like eating an apple, and a lot of people love apples. That's just one fruit that I can't go near because it's just got such a weird, like, sandy, rough texture, and it's beaming with juice all around, but when you take a bite out of it, it actually tastes kind of dry. This was kind of the same thing. So, my only saving grace is that there's barbecue sauce. It is literally drenched and drowned in barbecue sauce. And that's another thing that worries me. This isn't exactly Heinz we're talking about here. This is some UPTON'S Naturals. Have you ever heard of this company? I haven't. So how good is their barbecue sauce gonna be? For this to taste any good, I'm wholly dependent on that barbecue sauce. I mean, I fear the only way to truly eat jackfruit and have it taste good is to drown it in something really strong, like barbecue sauce, like sriracha sauce or buffalo sauce. I mean, but it's still not out of the woods from there because the thing that really kills you is the texture. And unless this barbecue sauce softens up that texture a little bit, it's still gonna be like eating a number 2 pencil, and that's gonna be disgusting. This man, even though he has a very small head, he looks like a dapper gentleman, a wise gentleman. Does he have it within him to do the impossible? We'll find out together. Like an IV bag. All the vampires watching at home are wailing away on themselves now! Very boring. Any distraction would be welcome now.
What is this aroma? I don't know what it is, but it smells delicious. Squinkies! That was a great example of alliteration! I bet you'd be real good at tongue twisters! Repeat after me! He sells seashells by the seashore! How dare you, vile fiend! Do you want to test my special move? The JACKFRUIT!
For a sweeter sauce, add 1 teaspoon of sugar or sweetener of your choice.
Anything I can do to improve the taste? Could be promising. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I gotta give the devil its due on this one. This actually smells pretty spectacular. It smells just like any pulled pork you get from one of your finer restaurants like Smoky Bones or Texas Roadhouse. And yes, I consider those finer restaurants. But I just gotta keep in mind, I gotta keep it in the back of my cranium that this isn't pork, this isn't beef, this isn't chicken, it's not even meat! It's jackfruit. One of the most odious things that I've ever had on this show. Ugh. Although color me surprised, because it's actually coming apart like pulled pork. How the heck did they do that? Maybe this really is high utility. Could you imagine if Upton's Naturals pulls this off? I mean, wouldn't it be like the perfect ending to such a miserable trilogy? It's like you had Saw Part 1, Saw Part 2, and then finally Saw Part 3 comes around and it's the Lorax. Granny Norma, I'm old and I got gray hair, and I remember when trees were everywhere. Oh no, had to pay for it. I say let it grow. Okay, so far surprisingly doable. Well, texture's still a little bit of a problem, but not near as bad as before. Eating this is a really weird experience. When you first put this into your mouth, immediately your brain just says, oh, this is meat, this is pulled pork. But as you chew it, it feels a little bit harder in your mouth, but not too hard. All of a sudden your brain's like, no, that isn't meat, but what is it? Don't feel like vegetables, doesn't feel like fruit. It's just some kind of weird thing. And if you eat this without knowing what it is, I mean, your brain's gonna be like, well, I guess it kinda could be a meat. I mean, look at it, it shreds like a meat. But you're gonna put it in your mouth, it's gonna be a little bit hard. And you're like, okay, well, it could be some kind of like imitation meat. It could be like tofu or some other like vegan alternative. Could be a fruit, but barbecue fruit, who ever heard of that? So, I guess I gotta give them a shot in the arm. I mean, they accomplished something unique, something one of a kind. Upton's Naturals did two things that I have to stand up and applaud. Number one, they got rid of that horrible jackfruit texture. I hate to sound like a broken record, but the jackfruit, its taste was what it was. I hated it, it tasted disgusting, but what I hated even more than that was just how hard it felt in your mouth. You felt like a dog tugging on a dish rag eating that thing. I have no idea how they did this, but maybe it was the barbecue sauce, maybe it penetrated into these jackfruit pieces and softened them up a little bit. Maybe it's the whole frying process because I boiled them before or I ate them raw the other time and they were what they were. Maybe that caused it to fall apart. Maybe these are a specific, different kind of jackfruit. Whatever the hell they did a marvelous job there and they turned this inedible fruit into something edible. And number two, I really have to give it to this barbecue sauce. I said it before, Upton's Natural, I've never heard of the company, so how good could their barbecue sauce really be? Is it grade F barbecue sauce? Well, the truth is, a lot of times, you have to go to those smaller places, to those mom and pop organizations to find the best barbecue sauces out there. And this, I think, is a contender for that title. Any of that stale, nasty taste that the jackfruit gives off is obliterated by this extremely hot barbecue sauce. And I think by adding the sugar, I added that little bit of sweetness to it. Tastes pretty damn good. But one thing worries me. Littered about this bowl, you're gonna see all these weird little seed-looking pieces, and every bit of me wants to eat around them, but this is an eating show. I have to cover every facet of this item, so I gotta do what I gotta do. Oh, it's actually not too bad. Kinda just tastes like a miniature jackfruit. It's probably just like a piece of the jackfruit that's tightly wound. So if I were to give this a star rating, I'm gonna have to give this 3.5 stars. Yeah, I know, it's a pretty low rating, but for jackfruit, this is the very happy ending I was looking for. 3.5 stars is good enough for what this is. I would love to give it the 4, but you know what? 4 stars are for items that I would seek out and eat. And that includes pulled pork and pulled chicken, barbecue chicken, all that stuff. This is delicious and good for what it is, but I would never actually seek this out. I would never volunteer, like I would never say, hey, let's go to the health food store and buy some more of that delicious barbecue jackfruit because it blew my mind. It did blow my mind, but I really don't want to eat it again after this. But you know, I'm not a vegan. I'm not looking to become a vegan. But I would imagine this would be an extremely helpful tool for someone who was raised on meat their entire lives, is trying to kick that nasty habit and eat healthier. I mean, yeah, it's barbecue sauce, and barbecue sauce isn't extremely healthy, but I'd say it's a step in the right direction, right? I mean, for me, a guy who not only hates all vegan food, but hates jackfruit with a passion, to give an item such as this such a high score as 3.5 stars, that speaks volumes. And with that, what left is there to say but... congratulations, this story is happy end. Thank you. So this is your good buddy Djclyve.
Ollie, Hello, Djclyve! I have returned!
Oh, hello, Shake Master. I was just about to wrap up the show.
I thought I'd offer you a delicious vanilla shake to wash down that food!
Oh, Shake Master, you're such a kidder. What's the matter, Squinkies? You sound so defeated.
Yes, Tweety Twerp! What's your problem? You wanna go a few more rounds? Does this mean you're calling a truce? What charade? I am the Shake Master!
Yeah, Squinkies, I don't get what you're saying. This isn't a bit. The Shake Master's my new friend. Squinky, stop being all pouty. You know this is your issue. You've been nothing but disrespectful to the Shake Master ever since he first showed up here.
Oh, don't waste your breath, Djclyve! He is just a dumb dachshund! The most inferior of all dog breeds!
You see? And Creaky had to cancel her appointment at the day spa so she could be here to prove you wrong. Now I think you owe both she and the Shake Master apologies.
Say you're sorry!
Squinkies, just admit you were wrong and it'll all be over. Ta-ra for now! Well, what more can be said? Maybe things can finally start to get back to normal around here. As normal as it can be here in Limbo.